Record.
And does it matter the view that I?
All right, so we got cut off in the previous recording. One thing we were talking about was cold calling for SEO and PPC clients, just digital marketing clients in general. It could be social media marketing, could be web design, could be email marketing, marketing consultant, whatever. It doesn't matter. The purpose is when you're doing cold calling, you're doing manual marketing. You're doing one-off marketing, and it's not your job's not to sell in that cold call. It's to set an appointment, to sell an appointment, not sell a service. You're not going to one call close somebody in a cold call like that.
Right.
This is to market, to book the appointment, to then sell it. So if your marketing and advertising hasn't done its job and people aren't coming to you via inbound leads, your job is to cold call, to pick up the phone, or do direct mail, or do cold email to generate enough interest to produce those appointments. And cold call, you've got maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds to garner enough interest to keep a conversation going long enough to get to the point where you can ask for the appointment.
Yep.
When you're cold calling, you're not asking for a sale. You're selling an appointment. You're not selling your service at that point. All you're doing is looking to spark interest. So talk to me about a really common brush off that you get where a lot of people think it's, this is good. This is a good one. Send me more information. Most people think, oh, dude, he's on my email list now. This is good. I got him. What does that really mean? When someone says, send me more information, what are they really telling you without telling it to you?
Right. They're telling you they're not interested.
They're telling you
a lot of the time. It's like, exactly. Yeah. They're telling you, I'm good. Yeah. It's like,
exactly.
Just go ahead and send me some information, and I'll maybe look at it after I check all other 500 emails that's in my fucking in my inbox as well. So,
how do you overcome that? Because that's a common one. We hear that when we practice role playing and listen to recordings. That's a common one here, and you're masterful at getting around that and getting to the root of it to see if there's true interest there or they're just blowing you off. How do you get around that?
So when they tell me they want information, I ask them, what kind of information are they looking for?
Let's back up real quick. Let's give a little bit more value here. You mind role playing it?
Yeah, let's go.
So, hey, Reddy, that sounds really interesting. Why don't you just send me some information and we'll go from there?
Okay, yeah, most definitely. I can send you some information. What exactly are you looking for in this email?
Send me everything you got.
Everything I got? Okay. If you could tell me specifically some things, like maybe you're looking for SEO or maybe you're looking for PPC. If you could tell me something a little bit more specific, I can really make sure I get you over some quality information.
Okay. All right. And role play. And the reason you're doing that?
And that wasn't like the best, but you get the point. You just want to get the specific, like, you want to know exactly what they're looking for.
Right. You're peeling back the onion. That's all you're doing.
Right.
The send me more information is a nice way of telling you to fuck off.
For sure.
What you're looking to do is brush that off, peel back the onion, and ask one more time if there really is a legit interest. And if there's not, that's okay. That's okay. You want to weed.
Right.
You want to weed through that, because at the end of the day, an appointment is not just an appointment. If an appointment doesn't, if it's not of a qualified person, that person's going to not show up.
Yep.
It's going to waste time. It's going to take up calendar space from the closer's calendar. It's going to fill your pipeline with hopes and dreams, but not revenue and commissions. So it's okay if someone says no. And going back to what we said in the previous video, 75 to 85% of your market is not buying at this time, and that's fine. That's just what it is. So you basically are just using this technique as a way to weed through that and find out if there really is an interest and they do want more information, or if it is in fact a brush off. Is that a way to put it?
Yeah, most definitely. And it's like the old analogy. I don't know if it's an old analogy or not, but if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it's probably a duck. Right. If you are on the call, you're going through your script and you're asking your qualifying questions, which is a big part of the script, is a huge part of the script. And
give me an example of a qualifying question. You can use script if you'd like.
Say it again. Say it one more time.
You can talk about our script. The script that we use. I'm okay sharing that. What would be an example of a qualifying question in that script?
Okay, so when we're working with real estate investors, immediately we ask them, you know, what are they doing in market to, wait, I'm sorry, let me answer. Okay, no, we don't. That's not what we asked them immediately.
Yeah.
The first thing we, all right, so we'll go back.
Yeah.
So you were asking me what are the, you know, some examples
Yeah.
of qualifying questions.
Yep. Exactly.
And immediately in our script, for Get House Deals, we asked them how many deals are they closing a month.
Yep.
And that gives us an idea of if they're doing this part-time, if they're doing this full-time.
Yep.
You know, if they say they're doing, you know, 1 deal a month, or they say they're doing 5 deals a month, 10 deals a month, it gives us a scale of how active they are in market.
Yep.
And then we follow up that question with how many deals did you do last year? And
Yep.
that lets us know, it solidifies if they really
Yep.
are doing 10 deals a
Yep.
month or barely 1 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 2 ways to ask the same question, but
Exactly.
you're asking it. You're not asking the same question twice, so it comes off rude. You're just asking it a different way, and that gives us clarity on if they're giving you the real information or not.
Right.
Some will lie regardless, and that's fine.
Yes, some will lie regardless.
Yeah, but
Don't
this
take
gives
it
us
personal.
absolutely. It is what it is.
Right.
Another example. So with one of our companies, we work with real estate investors, and that's what we're talking about here. But another example would be, I'll give you a couple of examples. So roofing, HVAC and / plumbing, and then let's say an implant dentist. So I'll give you 3 examples. Qualifying question for those, for roofing might be, how many roofs did you do last month? Okay, so did they do 2 roofs or did they do 45? It's a big difference. And with that, that's a nice way of asking what's their revenue without asking what their revenue is. Because once you know what that is, then you can generalize what their revenue is. That'll give you an idea. It could be a $5,000 roof. It could be a $50,000 roof, but you'll get a rough idea. You'll get a range of whether they're doing volume or not. An HVAC question or a plumbing question I might ask, how many trucks do you have on the road? Right? And that'll give you an idea of how many jobs they're doing per day.
Yep.
They're not going out and buying a next truck if they can't fill up the first truck. All right.
Certainly.
Another example, an implant dentist, how many, how many all-on-4s did you do last month? An all-on-4 is a type of implant procedure that they do where they basically put a full set of upper or lower teeth on posts. So it's an all-on-4 or all-on-6. It's a thing market. And part of why I'm telling you this and describing it the way I'm describing it is because once you speak the language that the market uses, it shows to them that you're not just some random person selling random shit. You actually know about their market. So investors talk about deals. They don't talk about leads. Roofers talk about roofs they've done. HVACs and plumbers talk about, trucks they have on road or vehicles they have on the road or hot water heaters or systems that they've installed. Implant dentists talk about number of all-on-4s they did or onesie, twosie implants. You have to understand the language that particular market is using. And that part of that comes down to writing a really good script. The more generalized you are, the shittier the script. You can't be everything to everybody, but you could be something to somebody. So my suggestion would be to dial in when you're cold calling to pick a niche and go that route. Has it been easier dialing into one niche with one script versus lots of different niches?
Most certainly. Yeah. When your script is niche or niche based, it makes it easier to have that conversation and it gives you credibility. And one thing that it does for me, when you learn the script and you learn the market, you truly know your market and you know your niche or niche, it gives you the ability to pick up on BS and legitimate business owners who are looking to grow their business. If I get on a call and I ask, are you mainly wholesaling and flipping or are you buying for a rental portfolio? And they say, I do everything.
Right.
And I own this and I own that and I do this and I do backflips. It's like, okay, that's a lot. You spread yourself thin. I can pick up on that. If I ask them what are their current marketing channels, and they say I do PPC. Immediately, so when you ask a question, one thing that I've learned over time is getting a little bit more specific you know, of an answer. So if they're saying that they do PPC, you know, a good follow-up question would be, what's your current budget for
Yep.
your current PPC campaign? If they say, oh yeah, I pay $50 for someone to manage it, and I pay $200 in ad budget, and I'm happy, it's going to be
Yep.
difficult to sell them on a much higher management fee and a much higher ad budget if they're truly happy.
Yep.
So yeah, that's something I picked up on as well.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Um, what are some things I've taught you on the cold calling side of things, just out of curiosity?
For sure. So one thing that I wasn't good with was analogies. Well-timed analogies can book appointments
Yep.
all day long,
Okay.
all day long. And you know, it sounds small maybe, but um, it's helped me bring out my personality in the call versus feeling like I'm just reading the script and
Yep.
I'm losing my individuality. I get to be myself, and I get to feel a lot more comfortable on
Yep.
calls. Another thing that you've introduced me to is just more so in preparation for the call. You know, like the Grant Cardone, like the Cardone training, the different books and different videos that I've watched, or some things that you've sent me. It's helped me be a lot more prepared for all kinds of rebuttals,
Yep.
just by you know, staying sharp,
Yep.
as you say. That those
Staying
two
staying
things.
sharp. One thing with the staying sharp portion, something we do is we record all of our calls through our CRM software that we use.
Yep.
So we're able to actually go back and listen to calls and
Yep.
sit on a Zoom call like this and listen to a call and then go, okay, what did you do right? What did you do wrong?
Yep.
What could you have done better? Was this a real opportunity? Or was the guy truly just blowing you off?
Yep.
So
Yep.
kind of Monday morning quarterback stuff is important. And if you notice,
Yep.
any professional team, even in college football, the day after, the first practice day after a campaign is tape day. So you basically
Certainly
watch every single freaking
go play,
of that game,
break it down
of
from
your
top to bottom.
position, breaking it down. Exactly.
Yep.
So it's a post-mortem. So you understand
Yep.
what you did right, what you did wrong, and what you could have improved on. And it sounds silly, but it's super impactful.
Oh man.
Because there's stuff I do that I'll listen on my own calls. I listen to your calls, and some of the stuff I say, I'm like, what the fuck? What did I say that for?
Right.
And then other parts, I'm like, okay, I should have said this here. And what that does is just gives me more tools in the arsenal that I employ, have better conversations with people to help them.
Tools in the arsenal. I'm telling, like that alone. When we first started working together, when I would hear certain analogies and things you would say on the call, and I would just be in awe, like, man, where the hell did he learn that? Or like, how is he so fluent in knowing an analogy for every single situation? And like another thing that I learned through working with you is minimizing silence on the call. Like what I noticed with you is that you're not going to be like completely silent until you've gotten all the quality information across, you understand their needs, you present it, you know, what we are about. And when you ask them to like rate their interest on a scale of 1 to 10,
yep.
Then you kind of be quiet. And Jeb talked about that too.
Yep.
Like say what you mean, or just tell them what you have and then shut up kind of thing. I don't know if that's what he said exactly, but that's one thing I learned while working with you, because before I would just talk and talk and talk and talk and mess around and talk myself out of an opportunity.
Yep. Well, I think part of it comes to asking better questions too.
Yeah.
Asking better questions is super powerful.
I should have mentioned that. Yeah, definitely.
You're there to ask questions and listen and then interpret that information and then ask another question on top of that to get more information. And what that does is that's your qualifying process. That's how you qualify people. You ask about, or you mentioned analogies. My two favorite analogies are this is an old one from the direct response marketing world. I don't know who said it first, but it's basically you wouldn't go to a doctor and just ask for a prescription. The doctor would first diagnose you. They'd run some blood tests. They would run a chest X-ray. They'd do an MRI. They would do a diagnosis, and then they would prescribe. So the old saying is prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. Mm-hmm. They can't tell you what you need without knowing what's wrong first. So when someone says to me, what do you have? And I say, well, what do you need? Or what's the service cost? And I'm like, I understand you want to know the pricing, but the reality is I can't really prescribe a solution to you unless I diagnose what the issue is and how I can actually help. Most investors I can help, but truth be told, I can't help everybody. So I'd like to know a little bit of context about what you do in market to see if it makes even sense for us to go forward with a conversation. What I typically lead off with is give me 2 or 3 minutes. Let me ask you some questions about your business, get a little context, tell you about what I do. And if it makes sense, we can keep going. If not, we could be out of here in like 3 to 5 minutes. Keep it really simple. And those conversations always lead. And those conversations, you listen to them all. If they're quality conversations, we'll go 30, 60, 90 minutes. And if they're not, I can weed them out early on and be done in 5 minutes. And quality over.
He's dead serious. He's really good with that. Yeah.
So the other thing is my other favorite analogy is when people talk about, I've used a service before. I've done Google ads before. Everyone's done Google ads before. Everyone's done it. Not everyone's done SEO, but everyone's marketed before or advertised before. But not all things are created equal. So if they say something like, oh, I used a PPC management company before, or I used Google ads before and it didn't work. My analogy, what I would use is I hear you. I totally understand what you're saying. I agree with what they're saying. And then I'd say something like, did you know, Ruth Chris and McDonald's both serve beef. They both serve hamburgers, but the quality of one is significantly different than the other. One charges $45 a hamburger and one you can get for 99 cents. Both technically hamburgers. And just speak to, that simple analogy will give them that aha moment, like, oh, okay, you know what, I'll listen for a sec. And then all that does is just keep the conversation going. So analogies are a big piece of this. Those are my 2 favorite, the doctor and the restaurant. What are some of the analogies I use that you're a fan of?
One of them is when you're explaining PPC and, we may get an investor who, for junk marketing pros as well, we may get someone that asks, well, what's the closing ratio? Out of all the leads that come in, how many will turn into actual deals for us? And, one of your responses that I really like is our job is to, bring the horse to the water. Your job is to make it drink.
Right.
When I first heard you said that, I was like, that is true. That is very true. That's one of my favorites. Second one, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Can't think of it. The analogy about the lawyer. The lawyer.
Oh, the example. So that's just
the example. Yeah.
That's just storytelling. So
right, storytelling. Yeah.
So that is we had 2 different attorneys in the same state in 2 different markets, similar size cities. They both got about 90 leads per month. One closed 18 deals or 18 new clients, and one closed 1. One thought we walked on water. One thought we were horrendous. And we reviewed the campaigns, and we noticed that literally everything was basically equal. So we started going and trying to identify what the issue was and do a post-mortem as to why one was happy and why one was unhappy. And we realized one had a good sales system in place and one didn't. So one way you can frame this is okay, let's assume for a second I know what I'm doing and I'm actually telling you the truth and I can do what I say I can do.
Right.
What are you going to do with all these leads I'm generating for you? What's your intake process like? How are you going to handle this gold that I'm giving you on a silver platter? How are you going to monetize these deals? So it kind of sets a reframe of why are you good enough to work with me type of a thing. You're not saying that. You're not coming off that arrogant, but you're making them realize that our job is to only get the person to pick up the phone and call you. Your job is to sell and have a sales system to take over that part of the sales process. And some people think that way. Most people don't. Most small businesses do not have a sales system in place. Everything is winged, from how they answer the call to how they take someone through an appointment setting process, everything. So yeah, that's a good story. And it's true. Results are not typical. Results in a campaign will be typical, but what the return looks like is going to vary from client to client based on how they're able to sell. So, this is not what we sell with for local businesses is not e-commerce. Our job is to make the phone ring, to have leads come in in the door, not buying something in an e-commerce cart. So it's a little bit different. Cool.
Yep.
What other questions do I have for you? What do you like about cold calling?
My favorite part of cold calling is meeting new people. It sounds cheesy,
Yep.
but I like talking to entrepreneurs. I like talking to and hearing different personalities. The more cold calls you make, the sharper you get with cold calling, of course.
Yep.
But it's more about talking to different business owners, hearing their experience as a
Yep.
business owner.
I got one for you. One thing you weren't doing prior, you were mainly cold calling. One thing I got you to start doing was cold emailing. And not to talk about the actual technique of how we do it, like mechanically,
Right.
in terms of messaging, I think most people will be shocked to hear how short our emails are.
Yes.
I
was when I started.
I know you were. You were like, this ain't gonna work. Come on.
Right. I was like, oh, I'll try. I mean, and that's another thing, being in a, not to cut you off, but just being in a, when you're in a position to learn as a salesperson, you got to take advantage of it. And like, if someone's telling you something that works, you have to be open to, the idea of what it is. And I've been able to grow tremendously just from listening to you on sales calls, but also paying attention when you talk about certain techniques and books and videos and stuff. It's made me a better salesperson. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, man. I enjoy working with you because you're like a sponge. You're open to everything. You're open to new ideas. You're hungry to learn. So it's a pleasure to teach you as much as I possibly can because you actually absorb it and put it into work. So it's easy for my part. I enjoy it. Man. It's not like talking to a wall where it just, some stuff sticks, but most just falls off. You're actually so it's exciting for my part. Talk to me about if you look at our client list, there's a surprising amount that came from cold email. Some big clients too off of cold email.
Yes.
Do you have any idea as to why the cold email that we send is effective? Like what can you anyfy why that versus a cold call or what, or anything you've picked up on or seen or anything?
Right. I don't have the data to prove this, but I think that a big part of it is a lot of the busier business owners, they are able to respond to email a lot quicker than, or more effectively and efficiently than a phone call. Right. So whereas I might call a guy and he may not answer after calling him 5 times, I may cold email him and he has time to respond to that. And possibly because a phone call, I may keep him for anywhere, if it's a good call for an appointment, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes sometimes longer, depending on how good the conversation is going. But email is just a quick, 30-second to, maybe less response. A lot of times after we send our email, they just respond, yes, I have time to talk, or no, or not interested. That's a lot quicker than a phone call. So I think people who are truly busy running their business, they truly don't have time for a phone call, unless they want to have time.
Right. And one thing I think we do that's a little bit different is that we're not going for the appointment in the email. We're just looking for someone to raise their hand as somewhat interested. From there, you pick up the phone and actually call, and you've got to refer to that person because you've just communicated with them via email. We're not turning around and sending them a Calendly link for them to book on your calendar.
Nope.
Being proactive, and it's your job to reach out to them, not for them to reach out to you, type of a thing, and book the appointment.
Immediately too. That's the biggest thing. That's one thing that you enforce, kind of, well, enforce is probably a harsh word, but
damn,
I'm getting better with my vocabulary. I'm getting better with my vocabulary. No, I'm joking. But that's one thing that you influenced.
Right. There we go. I like it.
Just kind of being very intentional and strategic about calling right now. If someone responds to an email, they're at their computer or they have their phone in their hand, I call right now. If someone sends in a web form, I'm calling them right now. I'm not setting a task to reach out. I'm calling them immediately. and more than once.
Got it.
Most likely if they don't answer on the first call. So yeah, once we send our email out and we're just seeing if they're interested in handling more deals or what we have to offer.
Yep.
I make the call, and then it's still my job to go through the script and see if they're a good fit, because most times they're not going to be a good fit, and that's okay.
Right. And that's okay. All you're looking to make that that connection to have them raise their hand as interested, and at least all it does is it ensures someone's going to pick up the phone call. That's all that is from our perspective. That's how we utilize it.
Yep.
There you roll through the script, you qualify, and go through the same process as if you were cold calling. If it's not really cold at that point, it's a little bit warmer. That's all we use it for. We're not selling appointments in that email.
Nope. Not at all.
Super short. I think we're one sentence, maybe two.
It's one sentence.
One. Yeah. It's not personalized. It's hi, comma, and then the sentence. Super short. And it's basically just like, can you handle more of whatever the niche offers type of a thing right now? Type of a thing. That's it. Super.
And it's not personalized, no signature.
Yep.
Straight to the point.
Yep. Really.
And they appreciate, and I think they appreciate it.
Yep.
You know, you have your people who are skeptical, but they will be skeptical even if you would personalize it.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Yep. Yeah. I think one of your, if I had to identify a superpower of yours, when you said skeptical, it made me think of this. You've got tough skin. You don't let things fade, and that's one of the keys to successfully cold calling is you are able to just run through brush offs, run through objections, run through negativity really quickly, and that's a big part of sales. Even more so, a big part of cold calling and cold outreach, because the majority of what you get is going to be negative. But where that negative is where the positive is. So
for sure.
What you're good at. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. One thing I want to throw out there is we put out a job application online job description online. And Reggie is the only one of all the 100 people that applied for the job, the only person that Googled me, found me online, and called me and told me why he needed the position. So anybody out there looking for a sales job that isn't able to get one, start cold calling the people with the job listings, because it worked for us. It was very effective, and it showed me like, oh, okay, this guy's got it together enough that he's willing to look me up, dig through a bunch to find my information, and then pick up the phone and cold call me. So I appreciated that. And
thanks, man.
That's all we got for today. You got anything else to add?
Well, just in response to that, the reason I cold called was because I figured if you're looking for a cold caller, I should probably show you that I have some type of skill set in that realm. It made sense to me. It was second nature to do that. It's what I would do if we have a client that we're trying to get in contact with and we can't reach them. I'm going to Google their name and figure out if there's a different email or phone number that I can utilize. So it's just about being resourceful for me.
I got one for you. Is it correct to confirm or to assume that you did not have any, if I'm remembering correctly, any digital marketing sales experience prior to working with us?
No.
Zero, correct? Zero. So all of your cold calling initially was heavily influenced by the script. And then over time, you continued to learn more and more of the language. And it was your just brute force that pushed you through or to earlier success, because of your stick-to-itiveness and your aggressive nature. Not that you had some mastery over the digital marketing space.
Right.
You still Rob and I are still learning every day. So I don't know everything.
Right.
But you started at zero in terms of knowledge, in terms of digital marketing sales.
Digital marketing, SEO, PPC.
And you've learned as you've went. So it's important to realize that when you're looking to hire somebody, you don't necessarily need to have them have a deep skill set in the space to begin with. And if you do, just keep in mind that a lot of that comes, if they worked somewhere else, you could be taking on bad habits from somewhere else as well, or bad information from somewhere else as well.
For sure. And one thing about you and Rob is, and one thing that I would suggest to anyone that is looking to, rather it be a consultant or someone full time, is you want them to be confident in the product.
Yep.
You want them to be confident in the product and the company. And I was confident with the scripts. I'm confident naturally, but if you're not confident in the product and the company and the team, then it's going to be a lot more difficult to set appointments because you're not sure if you can help this person. The person is the business owner already isn't sure if you could help them, but if you're not sure you can help them as well, is a bad mix. One thing you guys did a good job of is just like reassuring through different client results, constantly sharing customer and client success. It boosts my confidence. Like, if a guy's saying, how do I know you can help me? And I just seen a guy close a $20,000 or $25,000 deal. I'm like, I know in my mind, because I've seen it. I've seen our customer success that I can help these people. And it gives me the confidence to close the appointment and push through the rebuttals.
Yep. When you're selling, you got to come from a place of integrity. Sell stuff that works. Don't sell shitty products.
Exactly.
The next thing is I'm not a Grant Cardone fanboy, but his sales training stuff is very good. I'm not crazy about him personally, but his some of the people that work for him are awesome, and his sales training itself is excellent. One of the core principles of his sales training is you're the first person that's got to be sold. You've got to believe in the product that you're selling, or you're not coming from a place of integrity, and it's going to come off disingenuous. So the seller be sold is you got to be sold first, or you got to sell yourself on the product you're selling first before you do anything else. And a lot of that comes down to, can you produce the results you're telling clients that you can produce? And we're able to show you lots of campaign proof shots and testimonials and things that back up what I was saying to you. So that gave you the ability to go to market to sell this stuff confidently. And, so
you remember in the beginning they would say, are you sure that you can produce, these results? That's like unheard of. And I would come to you like, hey, Ed, they're saying that this is unheard of. And you're like, kind of showed me a screen share of like, dude, look at, these are all the people that we have, and this is how we're killing it for them. And I'm just like, okay. So I know
people don't know what they don't know. And just because you've eaten at McDonald's and TGI Fridays doesn't mean that Ruth Chris and Spago don't exist. It just means that you just haven't experienced it yet.
Another analogy.
Exactly. Well, it makes it easier for people to wrap their heads around it. And I don't say it arrogantly. It just is what it is. There's different levels to different things. And, until you've experienced that, why would you assume that exists?
Right.
So that's why I use the analogies. I think they're powerful ways of cutting through the BS. That's it. That's all I got for now. I'd love to have you on. I really enjoyed this conversation. I love talking shit.
You too, man.
And cold calling, and we'll wrap it up for today. And that's it. Have a good day, folks.
All right, man.